Hi everyone, it's Anya here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks Crochet. And here we are with an ombre coloured shawl. This is me in my hometown in Belgium of Aarschot, and I'm going to show you what the shawl looks like when you wear it, of course. This video will be dedicated to making the shawl and also, of course, the tassels. Not a shawl without tassels, I'm afraid. So for this shawl you will need some ombre yarn, and it is so easy to make this shawl. It grows really quickly as well, and it's a lovely addition to any winter wardrobe. I hope you will enjoy the footage we made at the Orleanus Tower in Aarschot, and I have added it to the tutorial for you to enjoy while you're making the shawl. Let's get started. So what do you need for this shawl? Well, I made this shawl using 2 balls of Stylecraft Horizon. It's a chunky yarn and it is 80% acrylic and 20% wool, and the crochet hook that they suggest is a 6mm. Now I always need to go down in my hook size, but this time I really wanted a looser effect, so I'm going to go up, and I go up with a whole hook size from what I would usually use. So this is a 6.5. I would usually use a 5.5. So make sure that you go up a hook size from what you usually use and still feel the fabric that you are creating. And if you like it, and if it has a lovely squishy effect, then that's the one that you're going to be using. Okay, so 6.5 for me. Now, as you can tell, the yarn starts from really pale and it goes to really dark. So it has an ombre effect, and I think it does it really, really nicely. You hardly notice the color changing until you look up and you think, oh my goodness, it has changed quite a lot. So what you do when you're using multiple balls, of course, is you start with the middle, you work your way to the outside to the darker color, and then the next ball or the next cake you will start from the outside and work your way to the middle. And this is the color Plums, and they have some lovely colors in this yarn, so please do go to our website where you will be able to find the whole range. There's 6 colors, so do go and have a look. And it tells you here as well, to get a smooth gradient transition, alternate taking the yarn from the center and the outside of the ball each time you start a new ball, because then of course you are using the same color to get started with again from each cake. Each cake is also 360 meters or 393 yards, and this is 200 grams. You will also of course need a darning needle and some scissors to sew in the ends. For the tassels you will need tape measure and scissors. And the cat is a recommendation, but not strictly needed. The width of the shawl is 50 centimeters or 20 inches. The weight of my shawl is 340 grams, so I have 60 grams left over. The length of my shawl is 178 centimeters or 70 inches. With tassels, my shawl measures 214 centimeters or 84 inches. So to start with, I'm going to take out the middle of my cake. This is the palest part of my yarn, so that's what we're going to use to get started, and we're going to make a slip knot. And for this shawl, for the width, we are going to be chaining 52 chains. So we are working with a multiple of 3 plus 1, and so 52 is 51, which is a multiple of 3 plus 1, and that makes 52. So let's get started with chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 51 and 52. So this is my starting chain of 52 chains. This chain now has a length of about 41 centimeters or 16 inches, And with putting on our double crochets in the next row, this will expand to about 50 centimeters or 20 inches wide. So maybe if it helps you, you could put a stitch marker into this chain here. So now for row 2, we're going to get started with a chain 2. So this is your last chain of your starting chain. We've now done a chain 2. This is now counting as a double crochet, so it counts as the first double crochet of our row located in our last chain. And now we're going to start creating double crochets all along the chain. And we're going to, of course, get started in the next stitch. And I use American terminology, so a double crochet is yarn over, insert into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 2 stitches done, and we are going to continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch along the chain. We go. So I have now placed 1 double crochet in each chain along my starting chain here. So that means I have 52 double crochets, and that includes the chain 2, which acts as a double crochet. And so now my work has extended slightly, so it is 49 centimeters or 19 inches. So now for row 3, we're going to get started with chaining 5. So 1, 2 and 3. So these 3 chains represent a treble crochet, because in this row we are going to be making boxes, and we're going to make them with treble crochets. Then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, so that makes up our 5 chains, and these 2 chains are going to be for our box. So we're going to turn, and we're going to skip 2 stitches here because we've made 2 extra chains there, and now into the 3rd stitch here we are going to place a treble crochet. And a treble crochet is yarn over twice, you go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we have made quite a large box, and of course that's the feature of this shawl. So you're now going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2. In the 3rd one here you're going to place a treble crochet, so yarn over twice, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is how you are going to continue all along the row, making these huge boxes. Now in total you will be making 17 boxes. I will see you at the end of the row. So towards the end of the row you will notice you have these 2 stitches left over, and then of course here we have that chain and the V of the stitch for the chain. It's not that obvious, so make sure you realize that actually you're going to chain 2, skip these 2, and then you're going to place your treble crochet into the chain. And I always just try and go into the chain wherever I can, really as high up as you possibly can, but sometimes it is quite hard to find the exact location. Don't go in between because that's too much that way. You really need to be on the edge of your fabric here, so try to go into that second chain, whichever way you can. So now I have made 17 huge boxes like this, and we are ready for the next row. So now for row 4, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, we are going to turn. So in this shawl, alternatingly, we are going to be doing a row of double crochets, and then we will do a row of boxes made by treble crochets. Now here, of course, we are doing our row of double crochets, and you just need to see where you're going to place them. So we need to do 2 double crochets around each chain space, and then 1 double crochet on top of the treble crochet. And I have made sure that I have placed my 2 double crochets always nicely around this chain space here, then my 3rd stitch on top of the treble crochet, because I didn't want it to look like there was a granny cluster in there, you see. So when you place your double crochets, make sure you space them out nicely along that chain space that you have, and then you place your next double crochet into the treble crochet. And I know it's easy to place them in here, but that will make a hole, and I have to say I have done that in locations. The better location to go into is a tiny bit lower into here, if I can get into it. See, this is what happens. If you can't get into it, then you don't need to, but there we go. That's the better location. So you pick up an extra strand there, and that means your fabric is not going to expand there. So try to place your double crochets nicely along the chain space, and then place the next double crochet into that lower position there onto the treble crochet. And also make sure you work in groups of 3. So you place 2 double crochets along the chain space, 1 double crochet on top of the stitch. And this way you make sure that you get back to your original count. And of course it is a count 3 plus 1, but the 1 here, the chain 2 that we have done, counts as our plus 1. So we continue like this all along the row. So I have made it to the end of my row, and here of course we are working using that chain 5 from before. So I have placed 2 double crochets along the chain 2 here, and now of course I'm going to have to place my last double crochet, and I'm going to find the 3rd chain to go into, if it wants to cooperate, of course, because generally it doesn't. So let's try and go into it, but of course not only that, you want to pick up 2 strands. So this would just expand. I also want to pick up this strand here. Yeah, voila, that's better. And I'm going to place my double crochet there. Voila, see? So that will also make sure that the shawl will stay straight there. So now for the remainder of our shawl, we are going to keep on repeating row 3, which is the boxes row made with the treble crochets and the chain 2s, and row 4, which is the double crochet row where we place our double crochets around the chain space and on top of the trebles. So I have now worked my way all along the shawl, and of course, as you can see, the color keeps on changing, and it does it in the most wonderful smooth way. So here I have now ended because my cake ran out, and so I am now ready to get started with my second cake. And here I have my second cake, and I have found the outside color, so it's going to be the same as what I just finished with. And the way I'm going to change color is with the old color I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, then I'm going to drop the old color, then I'm going to bring in the new color, I'm going to yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. There we go. So I have now got 2 ends here, and they're quite long, that's okay. And now I'm going to continue with the new yarn. Voila. And to be honest, before I do anything else, I'm going to sew in these ends. So I might just give them a little knot just to secure. There we go. And now I will sew in the ends. Voila. So now that I have worked a number of rows from where I started on the outside of my ball with my darker part again, I am really noticing that my yarn is going lighter. And this is a good place to just stop for a moment. So before you hit the really light part of your ball, you're going to stop here and you go back to the start of your shawl, because remember, we started here with the inside of our ball with the lightest part. So naturally I'm going to want to put my tassels here in the lightest color. So we go to our ball and we are using it from the outside this time, going lighter. So I'm now going to take this light middle and I'm going to work here. So first of all, we are going to do a row of chains, and then we are going to add our tassels. And we're going to do that now. So we use up the yarn, the lightest color that we need for this end of our shawl. So we're going to make a slip knot with the inside of our second cake, so the lightest part. And we're going to attach it whichever way you feel comfortable attaching, because sometimes you just have to have it in the right direction, don't you? So here we go into the leftover strand of our chain, and we do a single crochet and we pull it all nice and tight. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. You're going to skip 2 and you're going to do a single crochet in the next one. 1, 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next stitch under that leftover strand. Voila. And these are the little loops that we are going to make to attach our tassels on. So we're going to continue like this, and I will see you at the end of the row. And at the end of the row, it should work out that you place your last single crochet onto this chain here. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get into it. There we go. Voila. So that is the end of this row. Now I'm going to cut off the yarn and sew in the ends. So there's as many tassels as there are boxes, of course, and I didn't want to start the shawl with boxes and then have our tassels going into these huge boxes because I just didn't think that would look nice. So I just wanted to do it like this. So now we're going to make 17 tassels. So for one tassel, I cut off 6 strands of about 50 centimeters or 20 inches. And I've done that 17 times. Now I have them all here in my bowl and I have weighed them and they're about 32 grams. So holding your 6 strands together, hold them double like this. You're going to go to one side of your shawl and you're going to go into the first loop, then you bring through all the strands, you make an opening there, and then you loop through all the ends. Voila, and then carefully pull it so it becomes a little bit of a knot there. Voila. So now you're going to continue, of course, all along your shawl. And there we are. I have put on all the tassels and now I am going to continue with the rest of my shawl. Now, obviously the shawl is quite long. So what I suggest is to try it on, see how long you want it, how long you like it, and then continue on. But what I want to achieve is 2 different colors of tassels. And at this color, with this, I think that would look nice. So I am not going to go all the way to this color with this shawl because I want the tassels to have different color. So see how far you want to go through your cake and see where there is a difference and maybe just, you know, decide to stop there and do your tassels, and that's then the end of your shawl. So in fact I have just tried on my shawl and I have done 35 boxes rows. Okay, so 35 boxes rows and then a double crochet row, and in fact I think that's the length of shawl that I'm going to have. So this will then give me this about color of tassels, which is great because then I have 2 different colors of tassels. So after doing your last double crochet row, you're going to chain, you're going to turn and do a single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to make the same loops as what we did for when we made our pale tassels. When you have finished your loops, you're going to cut off the yarn, and then of course you're going to make the darker tassels. Then I'm going to tidy up the ends of my tassels a little bit using my cutting guide here from my quilting days, and I just put it on top of my tassels and I am cutting along the side here, just making sure that all my tassels have approximately the same length. It doesn't really matter that it's not very straight, but just, you know, make sure it's a bit neater than what it was. And of course you do the same on both sides. Now I do have yarn left, so if you wanted to, you could, where you ended with the tassels on the inside, you could take off the tassels that you need from there, so 17 tassels of 6 strands of 50 centimeters each, 20 inches each, and then you could keep going doing your shawl, and then you already have your tassels ready to put on. So then when you have like a little bit left over, make sure you have just done your double crochet row and your loops, and then put your tassels on that you have ready. So this way you will not have any leftovers, but the shawl for me is a nice length. So I would also make sure that you make a shawl that is a length that is practical and that is nice to wear. If it becomes too big or too long, it's just not going to be practical. So yeah, see who you're making this for, how long they want their shawl or how long they need their shawl to be, and then see how long you are going to make yours. I do like the fact that my shawl, when you hold it up, it does not look symmetrical, of course, in color. It's you know, the color is darker sort of towards one side of the shawl, and I do like that effect. I hope you like this shawl. I hope you like the asymmetrical use of color here, and I particularly love the different colors of tassels. I also hope that you will make it, of course. We sell the yarn on our website, so do go and have a look. Also, I do hope that you have enjoyed the footage here from a location in my hometown that I always used to go to as a youngster, and that has now been renovated so lovely, and it was so great to go and visit it again. Thank you for allowing me to share these childhood memories with you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!